this is actually the main reason I competed in the Half Ironman. No, this is my medal and my finishes t-shirt, my mug. I also got an iced coffee cup. I ran in this. What else? I got a backpack. You get a backpack given to you. Well, given to you, it was part of your entry fee. What else? I got another cup and a water bottle. I got a key ring. I got a swim hat. Can you tell I did a Half Ironman? So I thought I would just put a video together just talking through my experience of the Ironman 70.3 in Mallorca that I raced yesterday. It was, yeah, the best experience, and I'm going to talk through my numbers now. So overall time was 5 hours 43 and 14 seconds. So in my head I had that I wanted to get sub 6 hours, and I kind of knew I could do that, and in my sort of second goal was sub 5:45, so I got 5:43, so I was really happy with that. 22nd out of 73 for my age group, 84th out of 428 for my gender, and 914th out of 2,600. Top half overall, top 20% for my gender and my age group. So chuffed with both of those. I think in my age group I came like 4th British female as well. My swim time I came 4th in my age group, which was just incredible. 29:37. Transition time was 6 minutes, but it was a kilometre that you had to run, and then obviously me faffing around pouring water on myself and just taking my time drying my feet. And then I managed 3 hours 15 on the bike. Average pace was 28.8 kilometers per hour. Again, I was chuffed with. Ideally I'd wanted like that to hit that 30 kilometers per hour, which I would have done if it was a flat route, but obviously with the climb that just slows you right down. My second transition time was though 8 minutes and 7 seconds. That's quite a long transition time, but you got to go to the toilet, don't you? My run time overall was 1 hour 44. Ideally I wanted to get sub 1 hour 40, but you know, I'll take sort of 4 minutes off that. That's, yeah, I'll take it. You can see my pace drop. I was sort of getting a 4:36 pace, 4:46, and then just towards the end it was sort of like 5:20. I pushed on for the last kilometre because I got a 4:06 average. So start of the day up super early, sort of around 5 o'clock I think. I got to transition sort of around 6:15 to just check over my bike. I pumped up my tyres, I put my nutrition on my bike, all my hydration and everything, and just checked that was all in place. Checked then my transition bags were hung up and in place, and obviously had all of like my bike gear, my running gear, so for when I came out of the swim to get changed, they were all in place. So I just had a final check through of everything. Then we headed down to the swim start. We did a bit of a warm up in the sea. I just got a bit acclimatised to the water and just got sort of used to it really. Well, there was a Half Ironman and an Ironman run on the same day yesterday, so I think there was just over 4,000 people there. So it was a busy swim start. I mean, I was so nervous. I think when I got to the start line, I felt like overwhelmed. There was like music playing, and I felt like I wanted to cry. It was a really overwhelming feeling. It was strange being there. Obviously, I've been training for this since September. It's been a long process of training and getting ready for this race, so it just felt a bit overwhelming at the start. There was a man next to me crying. It was all very overwhelming. They have different pens for your predicted swim times, so 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I put myself in the 30-minute one because I thought I would do around a 32-minute swim for the 1.9k swim, so I put myself there. They then sort of feed you onto the starting line, where you then line up, and I think there's about 5 or 6 different lines you can go into, and then every 4 or 5 seconds they let a row of like 5 or 6 people go through. So it wasn't, they used to do mass starts where everyone would just be in the sea and they'd blow a horn and everyone would just start swimming and everyone would be climbing over each other. I don't think they were that safe, so I think that's why they've changed it. So the start was a lot calmer than I thought it was going to be. Trotted my way into the sea, and it was actually more spacious than I thought, so I was able to sort of find my own little path and just start swimming really. You get into your stroke and just allow your heart rate to steadily rise, because obviously you're super hyped up anyway and the adrenaline's pumping and your heart rate's high anyway. Obviously if you then set off really quickly, you're going to get out of breath really easily. You're sort of going to feel more panicked. Your heart rate's going to be sort of too high, and it would just be stressful. The swim was fine, and occasionally you'd be swimming next to someone and you both feel like you're swimming in a straight line, and then someone would just come in from the side thinking they were swimming in a straight line, and because you're not obviously in a pool, everyone thinks they're swimming in a straight line, and you always end up running into someone. And I had one person push my legs down and climb over the other side of me, and to be fair, I did that to someone else because I thought they were veering that way and I wanted to go that way. So it's a bit stressful, but once you're out of that first like initial bit, you do sort of find your space and it's fine. And actually, I really surprised myself on the swim. I felt really confident. I was overtaking people, and I managed a 29:30, I think, on the 29:37. I'm going to take it. I was really happy. I didn't expect for it to go that well. So a really strong start. I didn't just get out and start sprinting, because you do feel, it's almost like a bit of seasickness, or you just felt a bit dizzy. It's just a strange sensation going from swimming to getting out of the sea and running up this red carpet, and there was people either side of this red carpet cheering you. It was an amazing atmosphere. So ran into transition, got my bike bag, took my wetsuit off, and made sure to have a wee in the sea before I got out, because then obviously you've got like a 3 or so hour bike ride ahead of you, and I didn't want to wee on the bike. Put my helmet on, put all my bike gear on, had a gel then as well, and that's obviously where the bike started. For me, anything over like 30 kilometers an hour, if I'm hitting like 32 kilometers an hour, 35, I'm chuffed with that. But all of these men were just flying past me, and all they're in their proper gear with their streamlined helmets, and they're in their aero position, and I'm just sort of sat upright on a bike. They were all just flying past me. Obviously they maybe weren't as strong as me on the swim, but they're much stronger than me on the bike, and it was hard to I tried to make sure I didn't get carried away with them, because obviously they were going at 45, 50 kilometers an hour, and if I'd have pushed myself to go that fast so early on, I would have burnt out sort of halfway. And there's a big climb in the Mallorca Half Ironman, so 20 kilometers flat, and then it's about 15 kilometers of climbing, so I needed to save my energy especially for that, and obviously the 90k ahead. So I just got into my rhythm, let all these people pass, just didn't get phased by that, and just let them zoom past me. And every so often when they'd zoom past me, I'd sort of hang on to the back of them a little bit, and they'd sort of take me along. And I spoke to my mum and my coach about this before, but just like taking it all in, and just like not going off too hard, and not getting too stressed, and just taking the whole environment in, taking in the views. It was a beautiful bike route on the Mallorca Half Ironman, so just took in the views and just enjoyed it as much as possible. By the time I got to the climb, I'd smashed the first 20k. I think I did the first 20k in like 35 minutes or something like that. It was like, I was really impressed with how fast I'd done that. Got to the climb, and as I said, it's just 15 kilometers pretty much of climbing, so your speed obviously drops. But for me, because in comparison to the men that were doing it, I'm a lot lighter, and women tend to do better, apart from obviously the elites, but women tend to be faster on the climbs because we're lighter, maybe sort of more power per kilo of body weight. So some of these bigger men who'd flown past me on the flats and on the downhills, I was sort of going past them on the way up, so that felt quite nice. I have done the bike route before, so I kind of knew what I was expecting. I don't know if that was better or worse. I think it was good to know what to expect, to know when there was a few downhills or sort of undulating bits. Like a huge relief when I got to the top, just knowing that there was like a nice 10k of downhill, and sort of the rest pretty much is a nice flat route. So again, just taking it all in and just having a nice time, really. I think I had about 3 or 4 gels on the bike, and I also fueled my bike with saurine. That's what I've been practicing with, malt loaf, saurine. You do need something savoury. I think having all those sweet gels, it just gets too much, and the thought of what a gel right now makes me feel sick. I wasn't nervous about the race as a whole. The thing I was most nervous about was getting a puncture on the bike. You don't want to be wasting time, you just want to have a seamless race, which I did. I saw a few people getting punctures, and I felt sad for them, but I was just sort of thinking, I'm glad that's not me. And the bike route was actually 92k, and I was a bit gutted by that. I got hit 90 expecting transition to be there, and it wasn't, and it was about an extra 2.5k to get to the end. Anyway, I ran into transition, and me and my boyfriend had spent so long saying, like, this is what you need to look out for. There's a yellow building there, there's an Orosky there, that's where your bike is positioned, and it's good to know where your bike's positioned because, as I said, like 4,000 bikes all in line, they all look the same. Got into transition, ran straight past where my bike was supposed to be racked, had to turn around and run back, and there was people coming towards me, and I think they thought I was like going back out on the bike. It was all a bit of a panic. Changed into my running gear. I did change my socks. I got dry socks on, and after the swim and after the bike, I put a whole like half-litre bottle of water like over my face, just over me, to keep me cool and to get like the salt and stuff off. What I did as well, which I was proud of myself of, was to put a load of tissues into my run transition bag. So when I got all my run gear on, ran to one of the portaloos, which I assumed wouldn't have had any toilet roll in, which they didn't. So I had my tissues ready to go to the toilet. That's definitely a tip. First 5k, I was feeling great. I was flying. I sort of was hitting around 432 to 440 pace, which was like my desired, that's what I wanted to hit. That's what I've been training and been feeling good running, and was doing that fine for the first 5k. And then then it was kind of like 445, 450, 455, 459. And then I sort of hit that 5-minute mark, and by sort of like 12 kilometers, knowing, because it's a 3-lap course. So once I did the first loop, I think it was like a mental block once I hit that sort of 7 or 8k, a mental block knowing I had 2 more laps to do, and that was a bit like soul destroying. But I plodded on. I kept saying to myself, as long as you just don't stop running, but just keep plodding on, that's all I need to do. I kind of avoided looking at my watch and ignored the pace, and just tried to keep running. I think what happened though was I just had too many gels. I think I had another gel at 7k, so I think overall I had 5 gels in total from the beginning of the bike through to sort of first 7k of the run, and my stomach was just in bits. Like I had a tummy ache, I felt really queasy as well, and that was the worst bit. I felt queasy, so I was debating stopping at one of the portaloos, but I just kept plodding on, basically. I managed to actually find a guy, and we just were running next to each other for like a kilometre or 2, and we were on the same lap. So I sort of asked him, "Oh, have you got one more lap left?" And he said yes. I was like, right, I'm going to stick with you. And we just sort of found a nice pace, and then we started to build that pace sort of towards the end. That kind of kept me motivated, knowing I had to stay with him. Potentially I could have run a bit faster than him, I don't know, but we just found a nice pace. We were running together. It felt like we were like helping each other, so it was just nice. The main thing though was that the sun was hot. It was really hot, and that's what my coach had also warned me about, what a normal pace like for you would feel like, can make it feel so much harder. So you could be running at a 5-minute pace, but could feel like the effort that you would be like exerting at a 4:30 pace. For next time, as I said before, I'd take more savoury food rather than just relying on gels, because my stomach was, as I said, was in bits, and it just wasn't comfortable. The running course, every single water station I went past, I got a cup of water, poured it over myself. I then started grabbing a cup of water and a cup of Coke, and had a sip of Coke, and then poured the water over myself. I couldn't stomach any more gels or anything. So yeah, I mean, the atmosphere on the run was amazing. Everyone was sort of like just pushing each other. The crowds were amazing. It was just an incredible atmosphere, and that was the main thing. I was just trying to soak that all up as well, and that's what I kept reminding myself of. Enjoy it. Don't like sort of get too much in your head. Just look around, take in the atmosphere, and that's what I did. Obviously came down the finishing carpet through the finishing archway, and that was just an incredible experience. And across the finish line, and I had this like overwhelming feeling, and I started to cry. But then I think, you know, when you get like a knot like in your chest, like your chest feels really tight when you like want to cry, and I was trying to sort of stop myself from crying. But then because I was so out of breath from obviously the 5.5 hours of exercise I'd just done, I couldn't take in a deep breath, and then I started to panic. And then I spoke to someone. I was like, I feel like I can't breathe. So then this bloody like Red Cross lady came and like sat me in a wheelchair and wheeled me off. But I was like, I'm fine. I think I was just overwhelmed. I probably just needed to like see my mum and my boyfriend and have a cry. But they whisked me off to a medical tent and tested my oxygen levels and said my heart rate was high. And I was like, well, obviously, like I've just done 5.5 hours of exercise. But anyway, that was fine. I had a trip to the medical tent, which was funny. Got my medal, got my finishing t-shirt. Ultimately, it was just about completing it and setting a goal that was terrifying, was hard work. It's, I've been training some weeks, 15, 16 hours. I've been giving up weekends to do sort of 3-hour rides followed by 2-hour runs. It's been full on. It's been hectic, and it'll be weird not having a goal. It'd be good to just have a bit of downtime. I'll still train and I'll still do stuff, but I won't, obviously it's not such a big goal currently. Still got my wristband on, maybe I'll keep that on for a couple more days. Other than that, I think what I've learned from this race is try practicing in the heat and maybe practicing transition more, so I don't faff around in transition quite as much. For someone who's never done a half Ironman before, I'll take it. I hope you enjoyed my little race recap there, and yeah, thanks for watching.
It's been way too long, I've been building walls around me. Keep my distance so you never know too much about me. Trying to keep you out cause I love my safe space. But the problem is I never looked into my own face. My